I might have mentioned this at some point, but you and I both know the same person, and we refer to him as the captain. You know who I'm speaking of.
Jack Sparrow?
No, not even close. This man is not nearly as feminine. Yeah, by the way, that's one of the reasons. What's his name? The guy who had his bed shat on.
Who had his what?
Bed shat on.
Oh, yes,
Depp.
yes, yes, yes,
Johnny
yes.
Depp. Yeah. Okay.
Yes.
Whoever directed the first Pirates of the Caribbean apparently thought that Johnny Depp was being way too flamboyant and homosexual with his role, and almost took him off the role.
So, Captain, what you're saying is Captain Jack Sparrow preferred the sausage over the pudding.
No. He preferred rum.
Rome does not discriminate.
No, it doesn't. It does not. Anyway, what was that? Oh yeah, that reminds me of. The man we both refer to as the captain, for his wedding, he had to, because he I believe he sprained his back 3 days before the actual wedding. Now, keep in mind that a good portion of his family lives several countries away.
Mhm.
So 3 days prior is usually when everybody's already on the way.
Yeah.
So the wedding could not be postponed until he got better. So he was on 5 different kinds of painkillers on his wedding day. On the wedding photo, he looks high as a kite.
I mean, it must have been a very magical moment.
I'm sure it felt like it to him. Dude, imagine the 5 different kinds of painkillers.
Mm.
And that wasn't just so that he could, do the whole ceremony properly. No, that was just so he could walk to the altar, do the ceremony thingy, do the dance, and then sit down. That's it. Just for
sit
he
down,
needed,
sleep for the rest of the wedding.
well, not sleep, but be in more comfortable pain.
Yeah. Fair enough. Fair enough.
Because I'm pretty sure he sprained it at the bottom of his back.
Mm-mm. You're referring
Anyway,
to his coccyx.
that's what it's called.
Yeah, the little thing that looks like a tail.
No. Above the femur, not the femur. That's the thigh bone.
You mean the pelvis?
Yeah, above the Prisley,
The Prisley?
the pelvis Prisley.
I swear to God. How? How do you continue to make me fall for this trash?
Oh god.
Welcome to another week's podcast. Oh.
No, continue.
Oh, I'm. You know those painkillers, Johnny Depp? I need them now. Anyway. Anyways, welcome to this week's podcast. I am Mazar, and that monster hiding in human flesh is Patsy.
Yo.
And those new to the show, we are essentially two bards who are there to educate and entertain. And every week we have a new subject. Today's subject is Patsy Incarnate. What is today's subject?
Explaining.
I'm
joking.
I mean, if you can be self-aware enough.
No. What was it? Hold on, give me a second. I lost it right there.
Smugness.
Yes.
Smugness. It's how do you forget smugness? It is you every day.
Yes. But instead of shuffling, I'm smuggling. I can't say smuggling because that's a different thing, which I don't do.
Every day I'm smuggling.
How do you say that, by the way?
What?
How do you say when you are being smug continuously?
Mm.
Come on, English major.
Smuggiosity?
Smuggy. No.
Smugernity? Smegma?
Okay, now we're going bad. And for the record, we can't be held accountable for that. That I believe that's actually a scientific term.
Yeah, you know, it's not profanity, it's science.
Yeah.
Okay, so today's topic is smugness. Would you like to start, Patsy, or would you prefer I begin this wonderful journey?
Oof. Yeah. Begin with the dictionary explanation of smugness.
Well,
I like the way we did it last time.
I mean, to be fair, I did not go through the dictionary, but thank you for calling me out. Now I'm totally not looking it up.
Now
There,
you cut off.
I there's been absolutely no dead air in this point of time where I'm absolutely not looking up the origin of smugness. I'm totally not accidentally directed to the thesaurus, where now I have to go
Well,
back to the dictionary.
whoa, hold up, back up. The origin of smugness is like asking the origin of conflict. I mean, come on, there's been smugness since there's been like two people around. But
I mean,
hmm?
whatever happened to all creation is created equally. Anyways,
Yeah, tell
for
that to the fucking tell that to the African crocodile, the river crocodile.
I mean, why
You
why
know,
why
the one animal that reproduces like flies because they get bullied by everything and their mother.
hey, why are you bringing up hurtful stereotypes about African crocodiles, okay? Why do you have to go to the racist route?
That's a species drop. You're close, but no.
Yeah, but I mean, you're referred to as the African crocodile. Why not just the crocodile? Hmm? Hmm?
No, I said African river crocodile, mind you.
Oh, okay. Okay, no, that makes sense. Yeah. Rivers can be racist. That's fine.
Yes, they can.
So origin of smug.
So can the sea, by the way.
What?
You know, seas can be racist too.
You're gonna have to explain that one to me. Like, I'm pretty sure it is a thing. I just can't think of an example where the sea has been like, "Oh, you are this ethnicity, drown him."
No, not discriminating, just you know, racist. Because you know, there's a certain part of Eurasia that literally has a little part of water that's only
Oh my god.
400,036 square kilometers in area, and it's called the Black Sea.
I mean, here's the thing. Here's the thing. Okay, I'd like to
Yeah.
think that all bodies of water are like allies to minority groups, because think of it this way: you got a Black Sea and you got a Yellow Sea. You got an Arabian Sea and an Indian Ocean. I don't see any white seas. Where's the white ocean? Exactly, because bodies of water are allies to minority groups.
I
Point
mean,
proven.
there's a lake, but
There's what lake is white?
are you serious? I think it's literally called White Lake.
No. That is propaganda. That is gentrification. I'm sure it had a more apt name until the white man came and took it.
No, it's in North Carolina.
Okay. White sea.
Lake, my guy, not sea, lake.
Okay, you said lake. I actually found a white sea. So now there's a white sea and a white lake. What's next? White ocean? White tributary? Gentrification, man.
It's a tributary.
Like a thing that feeds into a river? Why is this a geography lesson now?
Hey, we're educating the masses.
About
Might be
bodies of ocean.
we never promised it'd be things they'll find useful.
No, I mean, well, I was
Yeah, argue out of that, please.
I was gonna say, if you're lost at sea, this might be very useful information. Like remembering where each race of sea is probably good for navigation. You want to go. I kid you not. You want to go where there is the most white people. Go to the White Sea. Okay, because you know where the White Sea is, northwest coast of Russia. The only thing that
I know.
confuses me is the Black Sea has like no black countries around it. Like every other ocean, body of water, whatever, it's sort of reflective of the ethnic group that's there. And then you get the Black Sea. I'm like, but there are no where are the black people?
Yeah, it's like this is in Eurasia.
It's like Eastern European. Where are the black Eastern Europeans?
We call them the Turks, but never mind.
Even Turks aren't like. Have you seen Turks lately? They're not that. Barely brown. Barely. Barely.
Well, let's go. They're milkish caramel color.
They're like people with fake tans, but their tans are real. They're more orange.
How did we get here?
We got here because you wouldn't let me give you the origin of smug.
Go.
Okay, well,
Give me-
my question to you is this, alright? What culture do you think would actually would actually find a use or a need to create a word like smug? Like self-superiority.
Ooh, I know.
Do tell.
The first thing that comes to mind is any kind of imperial system. Like it doesn't. Now I'm not talking about length measuring and stuff like that. I'm talking about specifically kingdoms, empires, anywhere where there's a form of dynasty.
Yeah. You are correct. They were some of the most notorious of imperialists. But like the thing that also confuses me is that it has no negative connotation. So, origin of smug, first recorded in the 1500s. So we're getting into the colonial period. Okay, from Middle Dutch, smuck, neat, pretty, nice. Did you ever like look at someone who was smug? It's like, yeah, that's neat. That's a nice person. I've never heard anyone say, "Oh, they're so smug." You love them.
Yeah, I met a smug person once. They infuriated me to such a degree I legitimately almost murdered them in a blind rage. I had to run away to not do that.
Yeah. So like, I don't know what smug, is for the Dutch, where like smug apparently was a positive connotation. But I mean, to be fair, if you were to think of a people that are generally smug, we all think of Americans, but that's just easy, like the most smug society I think would be ones that have statements that flex on others in like difficult things to achieve. That's why I think the Dutch works best, because guess who by European metrics is like the happiest nation on the world? Exactly. How smug do you have to be like, "Oh, are you trying to pursue happiness? Psh, we did that like 100 years ago."
Yeah, now we just perpetuate it.
Your problem is that you guys just don't have enough orange in your lives.
No, but on a real note, let's not take the happiness as a metric. Let's just take the smugness at face value. I think it's the French.
I mean, I think that would be accurate, right? Because the French are generally not happy. or what have you,
Everyone
but
died.
they like to pretend that everybody else is worse off. Like, are you smug if you think you're better than everyone, or if you think that everyone else is inferior to you?
That's the same.
No, I think there's a difference, right? Because thinking that you're better than everyone, you have to like tangibly prove that things are great for you. Thinking everybody else is worse is like, we may have open sewer systems and we're all dying of the plague, but have you seen the Germans? I'm making a Roman
Uh,
Empire reference.
I can tell. Uh, no, this reminds me of that Rick and Morty joke, like, you're both idiots and I can prove it mathematically. So I guess the first point of smugness where you think you're better than everyone is like, if you can prove it mathematically, which is, by the way, doable, mind you, yeah, you have a right to be smug.
Well, interesting that you're talking about like proving things mathematically, right? And we went down the colonial the colonial route early. I actually want to raise a very interesting sort of like concept when it comes to imperialism. Yes, the first topic that we wedge our way into smugness is imperialism. The easiest, the most smooth transitions.
I mean, it's imperialism.
Okay, so there's an interesting concept that showed up in my understanding of smugness, right? Which is the concept of the sneering imperialist. Because like we all know what imperialism is, right? At its base level, it's typically, although not exclusively, white people looking at other parts of the world and being like, y'all need Jesus and need to give me all your money because I have a better understanding of what you can do with it.
Yeah, we switched that up in the recent years. Now we just fucking Americans. Uh, now they just say, you all need Jesus, democracy, and you need to give us your oil.
It's like all those systems of government that you guys use, disgusting. Here's the most broken form of government, and that's the only right one.
Yeah, the one where we essentially have puppet presidents that do nothing, are not allowed to do anything, and somehow rake in like almost six digits.
Yeah, because like we preface this in our previous our previous topic, right? Which is prosperity. It's like if you have the most money, you are right. Okay.
Yeah. Did we go over that one African king who essentially ruined economies of kingdoms?
Yeah,
Because he would
yeah,
just
yeah, yeah.
we went over that.
Yeah, we didn't go over him, but you're talking about the Mansa Musa of Mali.
Yes.
And like this just goes to show you that possibly the most dangerous thing, right, when it comes to nations, economies, and everything, is religion. Because you know why Mansa Musa, basically the man who eats gold for breakfast, why he was so dangerous to all those countries? He was going on pilgrimage, and apparently in pilgrimage, you get extra brownie points for charity. And his understanding of charity was like, let me just give everyone their weight in gold. It doesn't matter who, as I just walk through like 11 different nations.
Absolutely destroying economies, where like a street urchin, so to say, now actually is richer than the most influential of dukes.
Absolutely. that like what it essentially developed was, let's say the Big Mac of the time, right? Used to be, but prior to Mansa Musa, $1.50. After Mansa Musa, just because like economies don't really like economies shudder under having extra money around there. So the only way they adapt is by raising the prices of everything. That same $1.50 Big Mac, of let's say like classical Egypt, went from $1.50 to like 15 grand, and people still could afford it. But at that point, it's like, how do we fix this when everyone's out of gold again?
Just tone it down. Now it's all in the what's it called? The National Treasury. We tone it down and we start paying things how they used to be, except now the I'm not gonna say the government because the government didn't exist, except now the National Treasury has more money and we can actually do it to, oh, I don't know, Donald Duck our way around. Wait, no, is it Donald Duck or was it what's the name?
Donald's
The
uncle, Scrooge McDuck.
Scrooge McDuck, that's the guy. And now we can Scrooge McDuck our way through life because God forbid they actually improve their countries.
Just a small side note, right? Since we mentioned that infamous duck, why is it always uncles? You know, Scrooge McDuck, uncle of Donald. Donald, uncle of Huey, Dewey, and Louie. Where, like, are duck families allergic to direct parenting? It's like, oh yes, my children, here's your uncle, they will raise you.
Do you want me to actually answer that? Because you're not gonna like the answer.
I mean, I would love to know. You know, this is the podcast of hard facts. Okay, we accept reality as it is. There is no sugar here.
So how do I put this? Ducks don't have a mating ritual. They just have rape piles. And their penises are corkscrew shaped that the female can't run away. I'm not making this up. Look it up.
So what you're basically saying is that all ducks live an alternative lifestyle.
Well, one way to put it.
You know, the thing that actually terrifies me about ducks is that they have hidden teeth in their bills. Have you actually noticed that? Like, if you look at a duck bill, it looks smooth.
Oh no! Oh no! That bastard can bite off your
Absolutely, like, and you have to like get close in enough to see their entire like outer rim of their bill is just tiny fangs. This is a monstrosity.
That are facing inwards and are made for ripping.
Exactly. It's basically. I assume this was a giant predator that decided, you know, for survival's sake, I will become smaller, but I still want that chainsaw for a mouth.
Well, yes and no. I mean, the reason everything essentially became smaller is because the amount of oxygen in the air decreased drastically, and because of that, also the bug life became smaller.
Mm-mm. So when dinner gets smaller, you know, you get less protein. You can't hit the gym as often. Yeah.
Yes. Also, speaking of imperialism, do you know how long it took the dodo to go extinct?
How long?
Less than 30 years.
The dodo was the McRib of the past.
Yeah, I forget at which point this actually happened, but it was in the colonization?
Do you have a problem with pronouncing a word? Interesting. What was that word? That complicated word that you're having trouble with?
I think it was generation.
Oh. Continue, please. Before we reopen this can.
Yes, let's not open the can of whoop ass. Anyway, so during the colonial era, how the dodos lived for about 5 million years was completely uninterrupted or unimpeded by absolutely anything. So they had no fight or flight instinct. They were just a bunch of birds that lived on an island that was ripe with fruit and bugs. So when eventually the humans came around and brought their animals with them, of course, sometimes you lose a cat, and at other times you lose a dog. And if you go Noah on this one and lose 2 of each, and there are 3 foot, 40-something pound birds that are just gonna stare at you while you murder them, I can see how, the cats and dogs prospered while these dudes got eaten into extinction.
To be fair, the sad reality is that the dodo was just delicious. I think part of your evolution should be to taste horrible, and that's how you ensure nothing wants to eat you.
Wait, I think animals. There are animals that do
Exactly.
that.
And those animals survive.
Yeah.
Unless
Anyway.
you're since plants also fall into this category, the chili pepper has probably lived a waking nightmare its entire life because of mankind.
No, I forgot where I saw this, but somebody wrote like a little short story about how humans are the orcs of the universe.
Okay.
Put into perspective like this, our surgeries are essentially glorified butcher jobs.
Yeah. Okay. It's like butchery with extra steps.
Yeah. Now keep in mind that some of those aren't life-saving; they're just cosmetic.
Like the appendix.
Like, I'm willing. Well, no, the appendix is kind of an issue in general, but let's do other
but
things.
here's the thing: the appendix is a functional organ for everyone, other than Americans and Canadians. Your ability to survive naturally occurring toxins in whatever environment you live in, useful for everyone, until you introduce a modern day health system that for some reason just tries to replace the appendix. Of course you're going to lose it, but to everyone else, our appendix is functional because it's useful. Sorry, I just had a mini appendix rant because I value my appendix.
No.
Okay, so after much rambling, the original point I was going to make, right? Sneering imperialism, I think was possibly one of the most entertaining elements of imperialism, which was the fact that in Europe, at a time when almost every European country had some kind of colony, right? There sort of became this flexing of colonists against other European colonist nations against non-colonists, right? And it became the idea that European nations thought they were better than each other because they had better empires or had an empire at all, like a colonial empire. So I want you to imagine thus the term a sneering imperialist, because it's oh, not only am I an imperialist, I'm the better imperialist. It was essentially how we look down upon each other nowadays. It's oh, I have an iPhone blank, you don't have an iPhone at all. How have you even lived?
Yeah, that reminds me of that one guy who made an iPhone app that essentially was like an online game because it had high scores, online high scores, and essentially what it was is you need to throw your iPhone as high as possible into the air, and then it measures air time, how long it was in air, and that's your high score. It's the time measure. I think he measured it up to a millisecond, but that's not the issue. The issue is how many phones that
Exactly.
broke.
I remember that challenge. It was hilarious.
and the app got banned.
The thing that I find funny about all this is, Apple saying, "Oh, we regulate all the apps in our store because we care about consumer quality and everything." Hello, your consumers want to destroy their phones, for fun, and you sell more phones. Where's the problem?
Yeah, I don't see where the issue
Yeah,
is.
just let people break their phones for fun, and then sell them more. In fact, give them a discount if they bring the broken one in. If it matters that much to you.
I think some stores actually.
Yeah,
do.
so I honestly don't see the problem. What did Donald Trump call him? Mr. Apple? I don't see the problem, Mr. Apple. Real name, Mr. Cook, Tim Cook, Tim Apple. Just bring it back, make some more money. everyone's happier with broken phones.
Oh yeah, somebody made like was that coffee?
No, that was the coffee of my nose.
Well, excuse me while I one up you with actual coffee now. So excuse me.
Are you actually turning coffee into a flex in this episode? Is
Yes.
I will drink my kidneys dry just to win.
May the best coffee sipper win.
Okay, so like here's my genuine question. Okay, speaking of a man from a non-colonial country, myself included, like, do you actually think you would be offended in the colonial period if like your monarch, because they're like everyone lived under her king or queen back then, if your monarch hadn't developed a colony somewhere else in the world, like, would you shame your king? Be like, oh, where are our colonies? Where's our systemic racism?
Well, to be honest, if I was like, let's say, a duke or something, most likely, yeah.
Like, I can't.
Come on, let's be real. Every duke wants to be a king, or every marquise wants to be a king, and everybody who's in anybody in a kingdom wants to be the king. Until they become the king, then they hate their lives. But that's a different story. Or they just live in abundance until and like have horrifically idiotic, moronic, incapable offspring who then proceed to ruin the country and toss it into a civil war. But that's like a completely different story. But yeah, I don't see. Everybody likes to undermine the king's authority rationally to a degree, so they don't
Yeah,
lose their heads.
I mean, it's in my opinion, right? As much as imperialism is like this smug flex against other nations embedded in racism, I gotta say, or like the British, the French, like all those like Spain, Portugal, and the Dutch, all those empires, like colonial empires, were just them playing history on easy mode. Because to me, probably like the difficult form of imperialism is everything that Eastern Europe went through. Like, because they're like, I'm not gonna go invade these nations that don't have like competently capable governments to resist my influence. No. I'm going to invade and ethnically like alter Poland. Or they're like, I want colonialism on the hardest difficulty setting.
You want to talk hardest difficulty setting colonialism? Just look at the Vikings.
Exactly. I think the Vikings looked at like castles and all these things, and they're like, yeah, that looks like fun. I can do that easy. With spears and shields and axes, I can bring down castle walls.
And
I
they
mean,
did.
like, kudos.
The
Kudos to Denmark and its Viking leagues.
Jokes aside, they legit did that. My favorite bit is the absolute disregard for religion or anything. It's like, oh, but I'm the Duke of the France. Yeah, you're the Duke of. Your skull's gonna be split in half in a second. What? Take.
It's like, and my favorite sort of like concept was like these rich people who essentially would think that you could negotiate with the Vikings, like, oh, you know, if I give you some money, will you go away? And the Vikings were like, yeah, that sounds like a great idea. And then they leave, and they come back a month later, and they're like, I need money. It's like, I just paid you. It's like, yes, I want more. It's like, how often do we have to pay you? It's like, as many times as I want. Or like, my favorite is the idea that like all these major monarchies thought that all Vikings were the same. It's like, I already paid you. It's like, no, you didn't pay me. You paid like what, Sven. I'm Ivan.
Next month you're gonna be paying Bjorn.
It's like, yeah, we're all in it for ourselves. I think that was like possibly the most hilarious form of like period of history. Because if you think about it, essentially all these Vikings were just like venture capitalists. It's like, I have a boat. Who can afford rations? And come fight with me. We'll make lots more money. Like, the Vikings were just venture capitalists with weapons.
I mean, that's one of the jokes I like to use. I mean, it's not a joke because, like, if you look at it, because it's kind of poking, fun of countries, but that's why all of the Scandinavian men are like scrawny and skinny, because all the bulky ones went out and died.
They went out. They went to
But that's-
Valhalla.
Yes, but that's why all their women are gorgeous, because they took everybody else's pretty woman home.
Yeah, I think that's probably like the funniest thing about Vikings is like they just look at all these cultures. It's like, ooh, pretty, and they would take people. It's like, I don't speak the language. Yeah, I don't speak their language, and I don't care. It's like, I will make them do menial tasks for me, And so you just ended up having like this weird community of like diasporas that all speak multiple languages and no one understands each other.
Yeah, like the Tower of Babylon back in the day.
Yeah. Like except it was like the fjord of Babylon.
Fjord of Babylon. On that note, another thing I would like to add is non-verbal smugness. So, like, if you already don't speak a language, somebody else, if you don't speak the same language as somebody else, how do you convey smugness?
Okay. Let me try and answer this this important question. I think it has mostly to do with the eyes, like the way that you look at someone. It's the eyes and it's the upturned smile. Because to me, anytime someone does that, it just immediately like it just says condescension. You squint and you smirk. I don't think there's any other like way to non-verbally express smugness.
Yeah. That must be horrible for people who have not who have like just squinty
Yeah.
eyes. And I'm not trying to poke fun of Asians, okay? Not them, because they actually have really good facial expression, believe it or not. But I'm talking about people who just look like they're
Smegma.
high.
Yeah, they got
All the
beady
time.
eyes. Like their face is much larger than their eyes, so they always look like they're doubting everything in front of them.
Yeah, and for some reason, everybody I've met that's like that doesn't open their eyes entirely. They open them at like 30% at best. At the best. Some barely open them even like 20%. It's like they're either so closed or not so close, are so barely open that how do you call the black part of the eye? And is that the iris? I keep messing up.
The pupil, yeah. The iris is the ring around it.
Yeah. Okay, so the pupil isn't even fully shown. So it's like I have to come like within a meter of you to even tell your eye color, and it has to be bright outside, otherwise it won't be.
Like here's the thing. Like if you stare intently at someone's eyes, okay, just to see the color of their eyes, I think like everyone would presume you're weird. Like if someone did that to you right now, it takes like a good 3 seconds of like staring. Okay. Here's my question. How do you explain it away? Like, do you think people would believe or not think you're weird if you're like, oh, I was just looking at the color of your eyes?
Yeah, you can just be an asshole about it.
Yeah, because like to me, if someone were to stare intently into my eyes, right, even good intentions, they just want to know the color, and they were to follow it up with, I was just looking at the color of your eyes, I would immediately be like, that's the lamest pickup line I've heard, and you are weird.
Yeah. Another thing while we're the subject of eye staring is, and this is apparently like a salesman tactic, because I worked like essentially as a door-to-door salesman for like about 2-3 months. It was horrible. I hated it. and I got paid shit. When I mean shit, I actually didn't get paid anything, because it was like, oh, you get paid a percentage of what you sell. I
Your
sold nothing.
percentage is nothing.
Yeah. I mean, I got reprimanded a few times, but I'm like, I'm essentially here voluntarily. Like, I'm volunteering my time, but what are you gonna do?
Yeah.
Shout at me? I'm just
You
gonna
know the
leave.
thing.
Which I actually did after a few months, but that's irrelevant. Uh, before you start whatever you wanted to say when you finish, what I wanted to add was apparently one of the sales tactics is to essentially be a complete psychopath, like from The Shining, is never break eye contact and blink as little as possible while speaking to the person.
I actually okay. You know, I'm gonna backtrack on what I said. You know, like nonverbal smugness and all that, where we're like nonverbal smugness is squinting and this upturned smirk. Because I just thought, you know, who's the most smug person I can think of? And they're not real; they are fictional. But have you watched *Scent of a Woman*?
A long
Yeah, like
over a decade
me,
ago.
like myself included. But I remember one particular scene. One of the things I remember as probably the most poignant was the introduction scene between Colonel I forget what his name was, and Charlie. Yeah, because he just gets referred to as Colonel all the time by that kid. But it was the introduction scene, and I think the thing that sold the smugness most was probably just, you know, the acumen of the actor. I forget his name. Like, he's not Robert De Niro. I think he's the other one.
No.
Yeah,
No,
yeah.
you're
Pacino.
somebody else.
Al Pacino. And the thing that
Yeah.
really sold it was the fact that he managed to not blink and keep his eyes open, because, you know, he's like, I'm blind. Why would I have that behavior of blinking when I wouldn't even know, like, beyond irritation and probably all the nerves in my eyes are dead, right? I'm not going to spoil why he's blind in the show, but he is in the movie. So, like, he obviously doesn't feel irritation in his eyes. And it's the fact that he kept talking while staring past him. And it's the idea of, if you talk in a sort of irreverent way without blinking, I think that very much like lends itself to smugness. Because even after he finished talking, he sat there in silence, staring off past the person. I think it's the idea, like, if you can behave as if you know something is in the room, but you're not going to, like, accept. Yeah, you're not going to address it. That is smugness right there in a non-verbal way, you know.
You want to see like smugness dialed up to 11? Just look up Tywin Lannister and his behavioral patterns, and my God.
Like, yeah, that really is the thing. Like, even looking at Tywin, it's always the eyes, right? Everyone who's, God, what was that sound came out of me? Everyone who's smug doesn't blink. And I don't know why, but, like, they will hold a conversation with someone. They will do anything else in the room, and they will not blink. It's the idea that they're focused and intent, and yet refuse to, like, address you while you're in the same, like, room. You're in their vision, but they refuse to address you, and or, like, you force their hand to address you, and they give you the look and the squint. You know, it's always the eyes with smugness.
Yeah, another one that's kind of a very douchey way to go about it. And father of one of our professors from high school, our English professor, who he will leave unnamed, but he did yoga,
I
so
know
you know
who
who
you're
I'm talking about.
about.
Yeah, his dad was the worst. Like, he would tell somebody, like, the two of them are in the same room, and this isn't like a basketball hall size room, just like a regular living room that's like 5 by 5 meters at most. And somebody else is with them, and he would say to that someone else what to tell to him, what he wants to say to
Oh
his
my
son.
God.
Like, I refuse to even speak to you directly.
Like, yeah, I think that's the thing. Like, smugness comes like if you disregard someone's existence, right? It's not the fact that like I'm afraid of engaging with them. It's like the opposite. It's like they are undeserving of being engaged. You know, I think like smugness is a form of purposeful neglect of someone or something. You know,
I think.
like, and I, I guess I will segue into one of my topics, right? Which is because we're talking purposeful neglect of someone or something. Did you know, Patsy, that there are no black samurais?
No, I'm
Okay,
not.
so like there
Do
actually
tell.
is, and I'm sure like nowadays everyone has heard there's like comic books, TV shows, or movies or anything about Japan's first black samurai. But okay, the funny thing is, and this is like the pinnacle of smugness. Okay, you are in Japan. You have been brought here by like Portuguese Jesuits, whatever, so on and so forth. Everyone, okay, is so mystified by your existence that you become like the subject of lore to the point that like the supreme dictator of the country, okay, is told that there's a human being with black skin and they exist. And you're like, psh, you're pranking me, bro. Okay? And so people are like, no, this is real. And he's like, right. Produce this black human. Okay? And you are introduced, right? You are Oda Nobunaga for the history fans, right? You're Oda Nobunaga. They produce for you this black human being. And you know how they say seeing is believing? You see it. And you still don't believe it.
Like, nah. You just put
Funny you
someone
should
in
say
power.
that. His first reaction was, "What are you talking about? This is a Japanese person covered in ink. Wash him." And they're like, I guess we shouldn't contradict the the supreme shogun in front of him, because I'm sure like whoever was like, oh no, he's not dirty, supreme shogun. No, he's actually black. It's like, are you trying to call me an idiot? Do you want to lose your head? Like, no, absolutely. He swam drowned in ink, right? So for 6 hours, people are scrubbing the ever living hell out of your skin to no effect.
Oh, I wouldn't be surprised if at some point he started
Straight up,
bleeding somewhere.
okay. And after 6 hours of watching you be washed and your skin not changing, Oda Nobunaga's like, "Damn, do I have to admit that I was an idiot? There are black Japanese people."
Yeah, which is ironic because usually the
Yeah,
demons are
that's
depicted
straight
as
up
black.
like
And I'm not talking African American. I'm
yeah.
talking like ink black.
Like and that's why like the pinnacle of smugness is like there is no race other than Japanese. What is this black thing you speak of?
I mean, just look at the Japanese-Chinese War during World War II, and you'll see
Yeah.
why the Japanese think so. I mean, I love the fact that people keep forgetting that they were part of the
Yeah. I
Axis.
mean, I think we've all moved on. We've all forgiven Germany, Japan, and Italy, for their contribution.
A part of the reason why Germany and Italy were forgiven was because Eurovision
Oh,
started
really?
shortly after. Yeah, Eurovision started shortly after World War II as a means to unite war-torn countries, to mend all wounds through like song and whatnot. Um, yeah, I'm not joking around. And now I mean, every member, every country that actually resided in Europe was gonna put forth their what's it called, competitor, quote unquote, and how they would go about it, if I remember correctly, is everybody's allowed to vote for, let's say, I don't know, Germany's singer, except Germany. But this goes for every country. So France puts forward their singers, and everybody can vote for that singer except
okay.
France.
So it's like that forced acceptance of your neighbor.
Pretty much.
I laugh, and this is probably like my own inherent smugness. But that sounds like Eurovision sounds like such a hippie thing. It's like, what? How are we going to mend ties with nations that basically killed each other off with chemical and like mass-produced weaponry and all that? And someone was like, "Why don't we sing together?" Everyone probably looked at them like, "Are you a jackass?"
Want to hear who's
Please
one
tell
of
me.
the founding jackasses? France and England.
I see. So, why do I feel like everyone else in Europe thought it was a stupid idea, but France and England were like, "Yeah, who won World War II? Shut up, we're doing it."
I don't remember all of the all of the like founding nations, but I know France and England are for sure because they get sent to like the final 20 off the bat immediately. Like they don't need to do qualifiers; they get sent like to the top 20 immediately. And I think one of the previous years, or a few previous years, well, actually, for the past 5 or 10 years, England has been getting so much shit. My God, oh my Lord, it's ridiculous. Like I think for a few years in a row,
I
they
mean,
got 0 points.
it's like the idea, right, of the Security Council at the UN, right? Where you're like, I don't deserve, like, I don't have to earn my right to like tell countries to stop it. Get some help, you know. I deserve that automatically because I won World War II. And I think like a lot of countries that like a lot of other countries in the world were sort of like, yeah, that's stupid because the Soviet Union then is also entitled to tell other countries that they can't do things.
Pretty much. What else did I want to add on the topic of England? Oh yeah, and I know there was this one every year essentially when England is like having their performance, somebody jumps on stage and does something, and they just like that somebody always gets like pulled off stage. It's like a protester or some sort. But what it don't show and nobody talks about it is like they usually just assume like okay he gets taken out and like thrown out. But one of our bands that was there, they were performing after England, and they actually had like a hard time focusing, so they underperformed. Not that they were gonna win anyway, like most of our stuff did, but that's beside the point. What they said was like, we had a hard time focusing on the song after, on performing the song, because the security took that guy off stage and beat the piss out of him. There was like, this is like imagine like 5 professional bodyguards just like wailing
I did not
at
know
someone.
that Eurovision was such a serious competition. Like,
Dude, it's a political competition at this point. I mean, it should go. I mean, the qualifiers are ongoing as we speak, and I think it airs somewhere in May.
I mean,
I don't know.
this sounds
Look it up.
like the gladiatorial arena, but like it's weaponizing music, you know.
Okay, help me here. What's the name of the guy who is in? Okay, there's a lot of memes about it. The dude's like one of the memes is like 60% of the time it works, 100% of the time, or like wow that escalated quickly. I forget the name. He's like a TV host.
I actually don't know. I can find it for you. Right. Oh, I get it
But
now.
anyway,
Yeah.
that same
It's from Anchorman.
Yes. Okay. That same
Yeah.
actor, whose name I forget, uh, stars in a movie about Eurovision, where I forget which country they represent, but the point is, like, they're not allowed. Essentially, the whole like the ministry of the country is like, we're not allowed. We shouldn't send anyone, or at least anyone good, because if we win, it's gonna destroy our country's economy. Because like, I think it was Iceland. Of course, this is
Mm.
all satire and like whatnot. But the point is, like, their capital has like what, 25,000 people, and on average, and if they win, they have to
Oh my
host Eurovision the next
god.
year. And on average, about 400,000 people come to
Yeah.
watch Eurovision.
Um. Probably like not as recent as Eurovision, but I get the point you're making because do you remember the World Cup? Okay, like
I don't watch
I
sports.
didn't as
Go on.
well, but you know, you go to any pub anytime during the World Cup and you are forced to watch it, and you just want to sit there quietly, enjoy your drink, maybe hang out with friends, and you are surrounded by like people of all nations who are talking about it. You cannot escape it at all. Um, and one of the things that honestly just became hilarious to me was people talking about uh, Qatar, right? And what it did to like be able to host the World Cup. It had to have more stadiums than it has. Okay, and it's not that big a country, so it can't like pile all the stadiums into one city, and they don't have that many cities. So they created a completely new city just to build a stadium in it. And like you're saying it's satire or joke. How surreal do you think it is to live that satire where your government to host one football match creates a city out of nothing, which has no usefulness to the country?
I mean, just look at North Korea and their cardboard city, as they like to call it.
It's so stupid. It like that
You know
right
the one.
there. Like honestly, if we're talking about smugness, that right there was called out being smug to the rest of the world, where they're like, I don't need to be developed. I can just buy it in a couple of months, and catch up to where you are because screw you, I have money.
Yeah, that's not how this works.
I can buy my
Anyway,
development, and suddenly their real estate market just becomes unlivable due to all this real estate they just like vomited all over the country.
I don't want to go into fucking engineering and economics because we're gonna get like, if I ever want to start talking about engineering and or economics, stop
I,
me. 'Cause
I, I love how you always want to find a way
Anyway.
to shoehorn your economics degree.
Shut up. Anyway, another thing I wanted to add, like, I'm gonna segue into my topic now, and that's smugness as a matter of perspective. So, from the perspective of Qatar, that was smug, right? Wait, hold on, really?
Yeah, we got 30 minutes left. If we want to stay within an hour or 30.
Okay. I thought
We started about an hour ago, yeah. So we have half an hour.
I thought we talked for.
No,
only
I'm
an
saying
hour,
we
not an
have
hour 30.
half 30 minutes left to hit the 1 hour 30 mark on our recording. Yeah,
Yeah, sure.
you and I
Alright.
were saying the same thing from different perspectives. You're like, I thought we only talked for an hour. I'm like, yes, we have half an hour left. And you're like, that's strange. I only thought we talked for an hour. I'm like, what did I just say in other words? How do we always do this? How do we say this? This is the see you in the next episode moment again. Oh my god.
Please, for the love of God, leave this in. Anyway,
Continue,
leave this in.
continue.
This is precious. I love it. Anyway, okay, I'm not even gonna go to my topic because we forgot something crucial at the beginning of this of the episode, and that's how I gave you a heart attack and it was socially acceptable. I would like you to tell the
Oh, okay,
story
okay.
as the victim.
I would like to preface this by saying, my attempted murder, my attempted homicide, brought to you by mayonnaise. Because fun fact, if you ever want to win Patsy's heart, just mail him a jar of mayonnaise. Okay. When we knew each other as kids, Patsy's favorite thing to do was to absolutely lubricate, like soak food in mayonnaise. As you might imagine, chewing becomes a bit difficult when everything is sliding around in your mouth.
And when I'm talking, when he's saying slather everything in mayonnaise, I'm talking like at least, like let's say you have a regular cheeseburger, and then you decide to add a tablespoon of mayonnaise, like as much as you can grab with that spoon in it, and that is
For one bite.
No, not for one bite. I've tried that, and no, it's just because mayonnaise with chunks of things in it. Nah, I mean
Okay,
just
well,
spread it evenly over the
Patsy
burger.
at that time was still doing his experimentation of, does everything taste better with a packet of mayonnaise added to every bite? So we all had gotten really used to this from Patsy. So we just leave him to engorge in his mayonnaise addiction while we all talk. I thought he was not listening because I'm literally 6 feet away from him having a conversation with someone else. I tell a joke. They didn't find it funny, but guess who found it funny? Exactly. And he
That's
finds
really
it funny when he has a mouthful of mayonnaise and sandwich in his mouth, thus choking. I had no idea that he was choking. All I know next is Patsy comes staggering towards me and throws a haymaker directly into my chest. As he giggles and says, I tried to kill him. Meanwhile, I'm on the floor, actually dying.
gasping for air because
You knocked all the wind out of my soul, not just my body. I was gasping for dear life for like a minute. Because you blindsided me. I had no idea you were heading towards me. Next thing I know, just this fist flies directly into my chest.
And how else you explain it? It's like, and then I'm just like standing over you with a sentence.
Yeah.
Like you should have made me laugh, still giggling, and everybody else is there. And
Yeah,
everybody
you're
else
not
is
like,
just no,
you'd
just
feel
yeah.
regret and apologize. No, he blames me. He's like, you brought this about on yourself. You weren't even in the conversation.
Do tell. What was everybody else's?
Because
reaction
apparently
to
we
my
have the
outburst
best
of
friends
violence?
with great moral compasses. Their reaction was to laugh at me. As I'm dying.
Oh man.
Oh, yeah, no, we had the
We didn't have
trashiest
terrible
of friends.
though, jokes aside.
So I think it was that mutual, what's it called? That mutual being the butt of every joke that helped us bond with each other after I'd forgiven you for trying to murder me.
Which took a bit.
Yeah, I have
think it
I have a
took, like,
sympathetic
week or
heart, but I was like, how soon is too soon to forgive your attempted murderer?
Immediately. That's too soon.
So I actually want you to to explain to me how you think I was feeling in that moment.
Let's see.
I mean,
On an
whichever way
emotional or
that you'd
physical
like.
level? On an emotional level, I do believe you were, well, first surprised, then afraid because you thought you were dying, and then probably slightly betrayed because you didn't kind of expect it and thought that it's undeserving.
I mean, this is a bad example because you give an accurate description. However, it segues us nicely into the next topic. What is a verbal form of smugness that men love to engage in? I mean, here's the thing that actually confused me the most, right? I tried to think about this, like, what if this was men mansplaining to other men? Does it feel like it's condescending?
Oh, absolutely. It's condescending, and it doesn't actually. I mean, sure, if you look at the dictionary, quote unquote. I can't believe
Welcome to the modern
but
age.
here we are. Anyway, it's essentially refer. Let me just open it up. I have it here. Explaining of something by a man, typically to a woman, in a manner regarded as condescending or patronizing. Now, I went a step further, and I'm like, all right, I know what condescending means. Let's just, refresh my knowledge in patronizing. Please open patronizing. All right, there we go. Apparently kind of helpful, but betraying a feeling of superiority or condescending. Now, to my knowledge, you don't have to be a woman to get patronized.
Anyone who teaches you is essentially patronizing you. Okay, but we don't regard them as patronizing. Okay, we might regard them as we might get bored. But one of the things I found, I'm reflecting on all the times people have told me things I already know. I find that I don't actually I just tune them out and I go, yeah. And then I continue saying the thing that I wanted to say or doing the thing I wanted to. And I find that I'm sure it's very different if you're a woman, but to me, mansplaining could easily be cured by just white noising people telling you things you already know. And I think that's just become a habit that everyone has developed, in social settings, because we live in the information age, right? Everybody has access to information. No one has to go to a library and open up an encyclopedia and memorize garbage anymore, right? To be smart. We all have Google, smartphones, what have you. We can ask Alexa, how many atoms are in an egg, and now we suddenly are an atomic physicist.
Oh my god, that reminds me of that one streamer who streamed himself sleeping, and he just set his donations to be super loud, and there was this one clever bastard who was like, Alexa, what's my location?
This is why you don't sleep on stream.
No, but that right there is somebody using their mind properly.
Absolutely.
Somebody being actually clever. He was like, I bet this idiot didn't turn off Alexa. Because that's the first thing I do. That's the first thing whenever I get a new iPhone. iPhone, look at me. I had 2 iPhones in my lifetime. Whenever I get a new Android, it's I turn off whatever.
You want to hear a fun fact?
Automated voice system they have.
I've never owned a single Apple product in my life because I find ownership of it to be offensive. I find it to be the equivalent of Pogs when you were a child. Oh, this is the kid that has the Pogs. This is the kid that's cool because they have Pogs. Are you kidding me? You own a piece of plastic. A plastic disc. You are not cool, you are sad. There are cheaper ways to own pieces of plastic.
I take offense to this because I did.
I'm honored. I'm honored because I didn't have to buy it. Okay? But you... Oh, wait. I actually remember now. I did own an Apple product. I didn't buy it, though. So it still, registers in my head as I have not capitulated to Steve Jobs.
Neither. All of mine were... oh, I got a phone call. That doesn't matter. Anyway, all of mine were also gifts. I never actually purchased something from them anyway, nor did I intend to. That still, just brings me back to the what was it? The TV stand representations, for $999, and then just dead silence in the auditorium, and just one dude going are you fucking serious?
Oh man,
it killed me. I love that one. Yes.
Here's the thing,
anyway,
right? Have we talked about NFTs before? Let's talk about NFTs. Here's the thing, okay?
Good. Sure, let's go.
If you think about it, okay, to me, the Apple iPhone is basically, if I were to sell you a phone, right, any other smartphone, but I laser engraved an NFT into it, and you're and I'd be you're not buying smartphone, you're buying an NFT. Now, I want you to pause and think of that a moment. What if I just replace the word NFT with an iPhone, right? Because they're like, you're not buying a phone. You're buying like the next age of technology, blah, 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 blah. It's the same thing. It is the same thing. Like a brand is, brands are just NFTs, right? It's an NFT that comes tacked onto something that actually has a purpose. And the sad thing is, okay,
Do go on.
that there's nothing unique about the brand. It's like we're all sharing an NFT en masse. It's like Supreme, okay, as a brand. Like anyone who buys brand things. Oh, you forgot? Dude, there are people who still buy Supreme products where I live. And I'm just looking at them like we have like one of the worst economies in the world. And you are rich and you're wasting it on trash? Like there are better there's better clothing out there, you know. There's even like buying a satire of Supreme is cheaper and funnier and like you get more street cred. At this point, who actually buys Supreme?
Dude, I forgot that was a brand.
Yeah.
I completely
No, like you want to
forgot
hear
that
some of the more
brand.
ridiculous things I've discovered? Because like there's this one store that like it will sell Prime or Primal or whatever that garbage like energy drink, okay? It will sell them as empty bottles. Not even full, empty. Okay? It's only
Oh, you gotta.
Logan
You're gonna have
Paul
to help
and
me out on this
KSI
one. What?
teamed together to create an energy drink. Okay? It was like a protein shake or some trash like that. Okay? This place purchased
Okay.
empty bottles of Prime, and it sells empty bottles of Prime as a collector's item. Among other things that this place sells, it sells one shoe, one designer shoe, like each sold separately, mind you, of like, I forget, Yeezys or some crap like that. Okay? It literally is selling you trash. It is like, where's the other shoe? Yeah, we don't sell it. Each sold separately. Like, are you stupid? Are you legitimately stupid? At least if I bought an original, like if I bought Prime from KSI or Logan Paul, I could drink it and then immediately regret my decision. You are just selling me trash for the same price as the thing with the liquid, if not more. Like, I think that's the epitome. Like, if I were to think of how do I translate a commodity into mansplaining, it would be me selling trash to people and convincing them that it's valuable, because that's essentially like someone explaining something you already know to you, okay? But doing it because they're some big shot or they're a man from the patriarchy, okay? That's like they're selling me trash. I already know the thing. I already have a smartphone. I don't need an iPhone. Steve Jobs is telling me that I need one because I'm a Neanderthal living in the Stone Age with my smartphone because it's not an iPhone or an Apple product or whatever. Like, to me, a smug product is a product that basically does the same thing or less than its cheaper alternative, purely because it has a name of value.
I can't do it anymore. I'm sorry. No, man.
Dude, like you.
I'm sorry. Words leave me when we reach topics of human stupidity. Because on this one, I agree with Einstein. It's like, whenever you think you've heard the dumbest thing somebody has ever done, somebody's like,
Yeah, oh man, like, I think, like, we definitely live in the age where someone can take something stupid and like convince someone that it's of value. For a minute, like for a moment, I have to stop and like be self-aware about this actual channel. Okay, but like, let's pretend we are actually a valuable contributor to society. Yeah, I love pretending. Let's pretend. Now I can't think of anything else. having like an existential crisis.
I love it. I love it when our conversations get so benign that you have like an existential crisis.
Am I the trash
Am I the
man?
idiot? Am I the garbage chute?
Yeah, like we live in an age where everyone will find a way to convince you that their stupid idea is valuable. And many times, like, this is just bad actors or whatever, see any cryptocurrency in history. But sometimes, okay, there are like lights,
Alright.
little like sunbeams go through the clouds and give meaning to these otherwise like completely stupid things. For me, I think it was Kickstarter. Is like if you really want to go down the rabbit hole of stupidity, okay, stupidity and con men, just go onto Kickstarter. But the best thing ever for me was the man who asked for $3 on Kickstarter or something like that to be like, yeah, I want a potato salad, and just everyone rode the hype train and like chucked, I got, what was it, 60 grand or something in his pocket. It's like you have outmatched your target goal 1,000, 10,000 times. Just because everyone, like, and the funny thing is, he's not lying to people. He went out and he bought a potato salad and he live streamed himself eating it or something like that. And then he had like a legitimate like crisis of conscience where he's like, what do I do with the other like $59,000? Yeah, like, what do I do?
$997.
You know, but like, I think that the nice thing about it is, right, it's a stupid idea, and people were very aware that it's stupid, just they rolled with it. And it's often the stupid things that don't take themselves seriously, and no one else takes seriously, that like have a positive influence. Because the guy, I think, like, used that money for charity, for help, or like helping people, or like a kitchen or something like that. I forget what it was, but like because of the fact that for him he didn't take himself seriously, he didn't take the stupidity of it all seriously, he ended up having like an actual rational thought, you know, of what to do with all that money. My problem is we live in an age where 90% of people with stupid ideas take themselves seriously, you know, and try to convince us that it's smart.
No. Oh my god, you didn't have to tell me.
Shout out to Marxism again
Trust me.
from episode 1.
Oh my god. I mean, if you want just like a lot of condescension on this topic,
I
just go look.
freaking love George Carlin. Like, George Carlin was my favorite comedian when I was an angsty teenager. You know, because I think he speaks to a lot of people just because of just how natural or like ingrained into our communities stupid things are, and they're just taken as a given, you know. And I think that's why, like, if we go back to our topic, why smugness, like is something that really took on a negative connotation. It's because a lot of people accept or like actually appreciate stupid things, and the minute you call it out as stupid, they feel offended. It's like, oh, what do you think you're smarter than us? It's like, I mean, not in general, but in this particular moment, you're not making it look good for yourself.
No, I mean, I absolutely agree with you, but damn.
Oh man, like, I don't. How I'm actually at a loss for words. 'Cause
You okay? What do you think I've been silent? What do you think I've been silent the entire time?
okay, well, I think we've gone a bit like into the depressing route. So I'll give you a positive takeaway, or funny. Let's not say about funny takeaway. I've actually, like, when researching smugness, I thought, you know, the best way to learn from this, you know, or share information is to learn by example. Okay. And I noticed something. The
Okay.
most smug people throughout history, real or otherwise, have always had physical deformities. Exactly.
That's true.
You know, and I'm gonna take
They
you
like to
from
compensate.
starting with modern age, because like everyone can relate to that. Donald Trump, tiny hands. You. That was like a
Yes.
whole
I
meme
never paid
when he
attention,
was
really.
spread. Like everyone.
I'm
Okay,
sorry,
when
I didn't leave my
something becomes a joke on national television, okay, or like cable television, when John Oliver makes the joke, you know it has been memed to death. Where people constantly like poked fun of Donald Trump having smaller hands than they think he should. Okay? But I can even I can take you from modern day all the way to the past, okay? Are you familiar? Are you familiar with the phrase to hector someone?
Okay.
Okay.
I've heard
What
that
do
term.
you think it means to hector somebody? Yeah, like to hector is not just like to pester, but also to it's like aggroing someone, right? Like you are essentially calling them out and constantly like calling their honor, their dignity, their whatever into question. You're trying to make them feel small and publicly embarrass them to no end. Fun fact: this actually relates to what was it, the Iliad or something like that, where Achilles decides to like constantly call out Hector, Paris's brother, the prince of Troy, and be like, if you're a man, why don't you come out and fight me, man? So on and so forth. Hector eventually takes the bait. Hector dies valiantly, but dies. Okay. For Achilles, it's not enough to have killed Hector. He then ties Hector's corpse to his chariot and rides around the city walls, dragging the corpse all around, like on the floor. And that's sort of like the concept of hectoring somebody. It's like, not only are you satisfied by like beating them, but you also want to continue to drag their reputation through the ground. Okay? Because you believe, yeah, the salt and wound sort of thing,
like the insult
right?
to injury bit.
So, like, you can hector someone before you beat them, you can hector them after you beat them. It's like the idea that I never want you to forget that you are a worm. Okay?
That is...
Exactly. But, like, one could say, Achilles, smug bastard. But, Achilles had a physical deformity.
Very. You know, it helps the point.
But Achilles had a physical deformity. He had the weak ankle of a old woman. Yeah, see, so it just goes to show you, everyone, like, I hesitate to mention some taboo subjects on YouTube, but let's say a certain survivor of World War I, who like cheated death multiple times, had a physical deformity when it comes to his reproductive ability. If you know, you know. We're not gonna mention names. But again, smug physical deformity. I'm telling you, man. You want to know if someone's smug? Ask them, do they have like some kind of disorder? You see my point? Like, have I convinced you?
I do see your point, but
why do I feel like you're actually like trying to find people with physical deformities that aren't smug? Exactly. I'm
having a hard time. Shut up. What didn't we cover? Sorry to switch around, but
the reason why you lost interest is because I won. I finally won an argument. For the sake of me feeling good about myself, yes. This is me compensating for losing at puns last time.
Yes. and okay, I'm not gonna go there. Anyway, one topic I do believe we didn't cover thoroughly enough, or at all, is
Oh
modern
yeah.
years,
Okay.
STEM recruitment and fidget
Okay.
spinners.
Um. So I was thinking about this, like going off that same route of what are some smug people of history. I also thought to myself, okay, you are young, you are bright, you want to have one of those futures that makes all the money, okay, but you don't want to cheat your, right?
All of the
Yeah,
money.
but you don't want to cheat your way.
Yeah.
You want to earn it, okay? You want to be Bill Gates of your age. So I thought to myself, I actually searched what are jobs, okay, for smug people. And lo and behold, like the immediate like hit I got multiple times was scientists. And there's
I
this
mean, it's
one
not
recruitment
wrong.
site, okay, for like people who work in STEM. And like the things that they said are like, um requirements, or let's say positive contributors to, do you fit in STEM or not? And it was like some of the most condescending things ever you can imagine a human being to be. Okay, it's like, do you believe anything is possible? That's because you believe in quantum mechanics. That's why you should work in STEM. I was like, sure. Let's go
What?
through the other 9 like suggestions. And they're like, do you like fidget spinners? I'm like, oh my god, no. The kind of person who plays with
What?
fidget spinners and like does not realize they're playing with a goddamn fidget spinner, like the person who's like, this is a good use of my time, should not be a scientist. I'm sorry. Like that that is
No,
someone who's trying to find a way
I
to cope with
absolutely should
ADHD
not.
or autism or something. And not to say that people with those can't be, but like if I went to MIT and everyone immediately judged me for not bringing my own fidget spinner to class, I would very much be like, you know what? Science in for me, apparently.
Oh man. I mean, seriously, like, I don't know. We have so many scientific fields these days, and even more are being made, but some of them are just like,
Yeah, yeah.
why are we doing
I
this?
was trying, like, if you think about it, the age of practical science really doesn't exist anymore. The only practical use for a scientist is how can you make this
No.
already small thing smaller, and using less resources, or let's say resources that are more abundant, so it becomes cheaper for like manufacturing.
It, it, it's some, I think, in a nutshell, YouTube channel called, also, it's originally a German channel, it's called Kurzgesagt. And they actually covered something like this, where at some point we're gonna have to stop making smaller things, simply because we won't be, because I think they're called, is it transistor? Or breaker? It doesn't matter. Essentially, it's a thing where it like stops the flow of electricity to send a signal and then lets it go. Essentially, it speaks in Morse code, so to say. Well, at some point, those little breakers are gonna become so small that a false positive signal is gonna be sent, because what they're called, electrons, sorry, are gonna, or I guess.
Correct. On the atomic
Atoms
level,
of
you have
electricity are
electrons,
electrons.
protons, and
I'm
neutrons.
not making this up. I'm not stupid. Okay. Okay. So, uh, on a quantum level, an electron, every once in a blue moon, so to say, likes to do this little thing called
I love that show.
a quantum leap, where what it does is it jumps, essentially teleporting itself a small distance forward. Now, this distance is ridiculously small. It's only, I think, 1 or 2 of its
Okay.
own lengths. or diameters. But that's the issue. If our breaker is that thick,
I see.
it's essentially gonna jump through it and continue going forward. Now, of course, the chances of this happening are astronomically small. However, keep in mind how many electrons actually pass through would like be going continuously, and it's only a question of when.
Yeah,
not if,
absolutely.
something catastrophic is gonna happen due to this.
Like, would you call that like the peak of hubris? You know, like, because we live in a time where I think we're all very much self-aware, like not self-aware. We're very much aware of the risks or the problems that could happen when we like try to do our next great leap forward of technology. If we actually like know all these risks and still do it, like, I feel like we sort of deserve what we get.
Oh, absolutely. I mean, just oh my god, what's
Oh
his
yeah.
name? Just look at Prometheus, the Greek.
Yeah, I don't think he was a
Greek
god. I
and
think he
how-
was
how
one of the
well he
Titans
fared.
or something like that.
I don't know actually, but I do know he is having
Mhm.
all of the fun.
Every day he gets
getting
his liver
devoured
pecked
by a
out.
large bird every day.
Yeah, I mean,
Yeah.
at that point, that bird is like got to be like cosmic foie gras at that point. Foie gras.
Educate me. Cosmic what?
Well, I mean, foie gras is something that like you
No.
probably don't have access to
don't.
anymore these days because cruelty to animals has become a universal thing, like laws against. But it's basically, I force feed, I think, goose or something like that, like duck or goose, one of them, to the point that I make them sick and inflame their liver to the point that it increases to like 4 or 6 times its size. And I slaughter them just for like the liver to turn it into pate.
I mean, if you already want to do that to an animal, sharks are an excellent example because sharks don't have fat tissue at all. All of their excess energy is stored in their liver. So their liver is like, by default, their largest organ because all of their excess energy is.
But I actually
there.
I actually
They don't have
learned
fatty tissue
something
like we
quite
do, they don't
interesting.
need to.
You know, like it's that when you go into like Greenland and a lot of Scandinavian areas, they actually, they pretty much, they all do have shark, but because of how caustic the meat is, they have to like pour additional caustic things into it to sap that out, and then like cure it so that it becomes edible. And it's still like a lot of people will be like, it still tastes a bit like eating a battery. But at that point, it is consumable. Yeah, and it makes me wonder, like, why would you go through all the trouble of killing and hauling shark meat when it's like such a niche market for the damn thing, and it doesn't even taste that good, according to many people.
I mean, I think it's for the clout, really, like for bragging rights. Because it's like, oh, look at me, I can afford this paper that has value to somebody at some point in history, and now I have to use it to represent the value of my own personal time I spent earning it. In order to eat this 150
It's like I have to
million
eat the thing
euro
that no one
predator.
else can afford to eat, or like even what I recall, it's not that expensive because like talking about a buttload of meat, right? Like tons produced from each shark. So like it's not that expensive, but it's more like inaccessible because who the hell would eat shark when you have better options? You know, like I guarantee you, if
Like I even have like a digestion problem when it comes to eating generally almost all seafood. It's like I don't mind the taste. I even like the smell of like cooked fish, but my stomach's like, listen, son, the next 8 hours are gonna be gym class, except you're not the goalie, you are the goal. And then it's just like next 8 hours is me experiencing the female menstrual cycle because I'm in a fetal position on the bed, just in agony. And this is from like an ice cube size of meat. You think I gorge myself on it and get sick? No, it's like my stomach. Like, this is the worst decision you've made this year, and I'm gonna make sure you remember this. I mean, jokes aside, I even tried experimenting, like to lower my
Okay,
tolerance.
well,
Nah, nothing worked.
I think that would be a fun thing to investigate. Our allergens and like the first time we discovered we're allergic to something, right? And no. In next week.
Grammar.
Why must you always condescend towards me? People, save me. This man is too smug to be contained.
It doesn't help that I like to twirl my mustache. and
You are
beard.
literally a cartoon villain at this point. All you need is a top hat.
Yeah. Yeah. I don't think we own a top hat, but I do own those like.
Mm-mm. Well, I mean,
steampunk glass
hopefully
that
one
go
day,
with top hat.
Patsy will be able to afford to get you a top hat. I think that like that would. I feel like that's a lifetime achievement for you. I'll look on your Facebook wall and there'll be own my first top hat.
I did past tense. Sorry, I did actually own a cane for a while. No, it's very nice. It was. I mean, it wasn't obviously gold, but it was like gold-colored, part, like little leaves on it, and like the handpiece was an eagle's head. It was very nice. It was very sturdy, except it was poorly made in one specific segment where I believe the wood was rotten. So when I smacked my friend across the head with it,
Okay,
the
so
tip snapped off.
that's a shame. Oh, look at the bright side. You had a cane, and now you have a handheld pike.
Yeah, I can bring
So
this
until
onto a
next
flight
time,
and
be
not
careful
a flight risk.
be careful of men with broken canes. They are secretly trying to kill you. Right?
Uh,
What?
yeah. No, 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 no. Not just that. Not just that. I just remembered like how paranoid I used to be, when I would like or have an umbrella and walk around with it closed because the rain obviously stopped. How paranoid I would be about tripping and just impaling myself on it. Even though the
Yeah.
reality of it would be, it wouldn't like
Well,
even
I
pierce me,
feel
it
like
would
that's a
just
good
break.
nugget of wisdom to go out on. To our lovely listeners, be careful of umbrellas. They will kill you. Yeah.
Yeah, don't walk
Yeah,
with
yeah. It's
umbrellas.
better to be wet and alive than to be dry
Iron
and
Man
dead.
that rain.
All right. Bye bye.
All right, bye.
Oh,